When you reach the end of your document page, an automatic page break is inserted. Sometimes these don't fit to the layout you want to have in your document. Since you can't remove automatic page breaks, you have to insert manual page breaks before the automatic ones. To do this, you should click on the place in the document you want the page break to appear. Then you go to the Layout tab and click the Breaks button in the Page Setup ribbon. There you have different types of page breaks. For a simple page break, you choose the command Page. When you go to the Home tab and click on this button, you can see where you did the page break. With the Breaks button, you can also choose section breaks. This creates and breaks different sections in your document, which allows you to set the page layout independently for each section. With the next page section break, you could do different page layouts for each section, because it combines a page break with creating a new section. The Continuous Section button creates a new section, but your text stays on the same page. In this example, we want to focus on the section breaks. By using the styles in the Home tab, we added headings to our document. Now we want to create different chapters. For this, we use the section breaks. When we want the next chapter to always start on a new page, we choose the Next Page section break. So no matter how much text we add in the chapter before, our next chapter will always start on a new page. When you want to define chapters for the document structure, but don't want them to start on a new page, you can use the Continuous Page Break. When you are on the first page of your document, go to the Insert tab, where you will find the Header and Footer ribbon. You can either use a built-in layout, or you can design your own by clicking on Edit Header. The information you put into the header and footer will be repeated on every page of the document. When you insert a header or footer, the contextual menu you see now opens. Within the Options ribbon, you can choose to have a different first page. This is useful when you want to have a title page. You can add the date and time, document information like the author and title, or pictures to your header and footer. Using the navigation ribbon, you can easily go from one footer or header to another. You can also edit the position of header and footer on the page in the Positions ribbon. When you are done editing, you can use this button and close the contextual menu. To edit again, use a double click to open the menu. To remove header and footer, go to the Insert tab, again to Header and Footer, and click Remove Header. To demonstrate the header and footer, we added a cover page and a table of contents. Before, we also added sections to our document. Now we go to the first chapter and insert a header. We want to make sure to have a different first page in the options so that we keep the design of our cover page. Now we also want to add a footer. Since we defined different sections in our document previously, we now have individual headers and footers for each section. So in section 2 we have to repeat the steps, and afterwards we can link the sections, or they are already linked by this button linked to previous. To add page numbers to your document, select the Insert tab, go to the Header and Footer ribbon, and click on the button Page Number. Select top or bottom depending on where you would like the page number to appear. Go through the available options and select the style you like. Now Word automatically numbers each page for you. If you have a cover page that you don't want numbered, you need to follow 2 more steps. Open again the contextual menu of the header and footer, select Page Number and Format Page Numbers. Now you can choose on which page to start the numbering. Click on Start At and type in 0. Now select Different First Page in the Options ribbon. Now close the header and footer, and you will see that the numbering starts on the second page. To remove page numbers, go to the Insert tab, click Page Number and Remove Page Numbers. Since we now have different headers, you also have to do this step when you are on this page. Now we want to add page numbers to our document. To do this, we go to our header and footer, depending on where we want the page number to appear, and go to Page Number. Now we go to Page Number and Format Page Numbers. Since we have a cover page in this document, we want the numbering to start at 0. This way we don't have a number on the cover page, and we start with the numbering on the next one. Now we want to repeat the step in the next header section or footer section. And again we want to format the page number, and this time we choose Continue from Previous Section. This way we have a continuous numbering throughout all the sections. We repeat the step in the next footer, and now we have a continuous numbering throughout all the pages and sections.